This is Mythical Daka bringing to you from my library Warhammer 40,000 Dawn of War Dark Crusade. This was developed by Relic Entertainment and published by THQ. And it's a real-time strategy game set in the grim darkness of the far future. This is actually the second expansion pack. I figured I'd just go straight to that because all the races are available in this one. Now, one thing of note is that they have this army painter in there. So if you decide you don't like the default paint schemes, such as this guy here is a Blood Raven Space Marine, or say the Blood Angels or the Space Wolves or whomever, you can go right ahead and paint something up like that. All these colors are customizable. Then you can go ahead and rename whatever the army is. You make these guys the Space Coyotes or something like that. That's what their Predator tank would look like. And you can actually go and download custom badges and banners. Unfortunately, I don't have it right now. I used to have Angry Marines badges and banners, so I was able to run Angry Marines Space Marines, which was hilarious. Alright, so let's not save those changes. I'll actually keep it on Space Wolves, I guess. That's actually my favorite of these Space Marine armies, because Space Viking Werewolves. And let's go ahead and do a skirmish game here. Let's do a 4-player version. Let's do this Doom Spiral map. And now from here you select what race you want to play and what races you want the computers to play. Whether you want teams or not. Let's change the game options. Let's just set this to Annihilate. And let's get the resources up to a high level so that this goes quite a bit faster here. Now I'll go ahead and I'll continue playing Space Marines, but the other races that you have available are Chaos, which is the evil Space Marines, as well as Demons. You have the Eldar, which are the Space Elves. You have the Imperial Guard, which is the regular army of the Imperium of Man. They have some really nice tanks. You've got the Necrons, which are an entire race of basically Terminator robots. You have the Orcs, which are basically fantasy orcs in space. The aforementioned Space Marines, and the Tau Empire, which are generally known as Space Communist Fish People. Now I'll go ahead and leave everything on random. And we'll go ahead and get this game started. Apparently I did have teams set up. Oh well. Loading and loading and loading. There we go. Alright, so here's how things start off. This is the basic command center for the Space Marines, called a Stronghold, and here's their basic worker unit, the Servitor. And over in the corner, here is my teammate. I'm teamed up with Eldar. Now, your goal... Let me actually get this guy building something like a barracks so I can actually start making Space Marines. Get a squad of scouts down here. Upgrade them to sniper rifles. Now what you do is these little purple dots on the minimap here. Each of these is a strategic point. You capture those and that increases your requisition resource. You also have this power resource which you acquire by building generators. And then these are your population limits. I have a squad cap of 10. And a vehicle cap currently of 0.
Scouts awaiting orders.
Now,
We will move ahead.
Your squads
Mark
generally
any
start off
enemy
fairly
positions.
small, but you have this where you can requisition new squad members, basically call in reinforcements. So I'll go ahead and do that. And then I'll add 2 more members to the squad.
Infiltrating enemy territory.
And I'll have them capture this strategic
At your
point here.
command.
Alright, my barracks is built, so I'll go ahead and have a Space Marine squad make their way in. Now, in the case of Space Marines, to bring up your population caps, you got to research it at your stronghold. So that's what I'm going to do here. That's going to increase my squad cap, and that's going to increase my vehicle cap. Now, just because you call in a squad doesn't mean that's going to increase by 1. Each different unit that you create has a different number, different squad population number.
Secured.
In the case of Space Marine squad, you can see in the tooltip, you match up this little icon here. They actually count as 2. I currently have a population of 3 due to one population for the Scouts and then 2 for the Space Marines.
Faith is our shield.
I'll go and add a few more Space Marines to this squad. Now, these guys are heavy infantry, and they'll be the backbone of a Space Marine army, as they carry a great number of heavy weapons. Scouts are considered basic infantry, or light infantry, but you're probably not going to run too many of those guys, not when you can run loads and loads of Space Marines. Alright, let me make another servitor here. And then I can upgrade this stronghold to a monastery, which allows me to build more stuff. Now, once that
What is your will?
strategic point is captured, I can put a listening post on it. And that makes it harder to take over. It actually will spot infiltrator units, I believe. And it will give me some kind of early warning when something is about to come by here, which isn't going to be a problem when it's in the back corner. But this can also be upgraded to have guns on it. And I believe it actually increases the requisition resource gain once it's actually built.
Yes.
Alright, now I have another servitor here. I'm going to start building plasma generators.
I await your instructions.
I'll have this guy come over and build an armory. The armory contains various upgrades for my troops.
Command. Yes, my lord.
Send the scouts out
Strategic
here.
point identified.
Now my Eldar allies are already under attack. It looks like we've got some Chaos Space Marines in action here. Have these guys come over and capture this strategic point before I run into trouble. Bring out my force commander, who's an HQ unit. And I'll upgrade my listening post to a fortified position.
Yes,
We'll
most
go and build another
beneficent one.
plasma generator.
I will do as you ask.
Position
And I can,
secure.
oh, I can create a chaplain already. Good. Chaplains are the religious leaders of the Space Marines, and they are generally very angry and like to bash Xenos over the head while, shouting for the Emperor, even more so than the typical Space Marine.
Objective achieved.
They carry a religious holy symbol that is not only a holy relic, but also a beat stick. That should tell you all you need to know. Alright, so we got these different upgrades in here. I can increase the number of heavy weapons my Space Marine squads can carry, because I can now create heavy weapons and special weapons.
I command in the name of the Emperor.
And I can upgrade the weapons that my Space Marine sergeants can carry. I'll come over here, I now can create this Space Marine Sergeant to lead the squad. Now, normally they would come with a bolt pistol and chainsaw, but I've got upgrades for power swords and plasma pistols
I
coming.
am the Emperor's
And I've also got
will
these
made
special and heavy
manifest.
weapons. I can give them flamers, I can give them plasma guns, heavy bolters, and missile launchers, and each one of them is effective against different things. Flamers are good against infantry and also help break troop morale, because being set on fire tends to be scary. Plasma guns are effective against heavy infantry and light vehicles.
At your command.
Heavy bolters are heavy versions of the bolt guns that the Space Marines carry. It's fully automatic. Hits a little bit harder. It's good at taking out most forms of infantry. And then the missile launcher, which is most effective against vehicles and buildings. So I'll give them a missile launcher and a heavy bolter for now. While I'm at it, I'm going to
Yes,
have this
Lord.
servitor come down and start building listening posts.
Initializing build protocol.
Alright, also I've got my force
This
commander
day
here.
shall be a glorious one for the Imperium.
He's a powerful Space Marine character, and he can be attached to a squad, which will help increase his survivability. Because he then won't be the only one getting shot at.
The enemy is attacking.
And I need to spring into action.
Agreed.
Orcs, of course. This is actually not an entirely implausible scenario for Space Marines to be teamed up with Eldar up against Orcs teamed up with Chaos Marines. Although as soon as the battle is over, all alliances will break down.
Here to serve. I will do as you ask.
Now, Orcs, of course, can throw a lot of these guys at me. They're a swarm army. And now let's see what else I can make here. I can make Grey Knights. Now, these are basically Jedi Space Marines. They have psychic powers, and they're especially effective at taking out demons.
On alert, brothers. The enemy must be nearby.
Alright, let's give these guys plasma gun. Flamer and another heavy bolter. Let's upgrade that. Storm Boys, who have crazy jump packs. Build a machine call. This is actually how Space Marines build their vehicles. I'll have this chaplain go ahead and join this. Oh no, he can't be attached to that squad. Oh well. Grey Knights apparently work alone.
The Ordo Malleus has sent us to aid you.
Alright, let's upgrade my Grey Knights. Let's get my Sergeant's Power Fists. I've got a worker here who's doing nothing, so we'll have him build this Sacred Artifact, which gives me more special characters, upgrades my existing special characters. Alright, now I gotta upgrade these fortified positions to heavy fortified positions, which gives them bigger guns and more armor and more hit points, and generally a good idea is it makes it more difficult for bad guys to take them over. I'll start building some heavy bolter replacements. Now this piece in the middle here, this is a critical location, and it's somewhat maddening that they're in the game. They give you more requisition than the regular strategic points, but you can't actually build a listening post on them, so they're very difficult to keep out of enemy hands. Rather disappointingly, I don't see any relics on the map. A relic is another type of strategic point that gives you even higher requisition resource generation, and also unlocks your most powerful units, which in the case of the Space Marines is the Land Raider tank, and I won't be able to do that. Alright, so from here I'll make a Librarian, who is a very powerful Psyker, and I'll give him some upgrades. And I can also make an Apothecary here, who's a healer unit. You attach them to a squad, and they increase their health regeneration.
Suffer not the witch to live.
I'm really surprised that there aren't any relics on this map. There almost always are. Almost always at least one. But I guess that means no Land Raiders. The good news is I don't need it to build Terminators like you do in the original game. Alright, so I can now upgrade my Monastery to a Fortress Monastery. Let's bring in an Assault Marine Squad and another Vanilla Marine Squad. Upgrade smoke launchers for my rhinos. And now I can build rhino transports, which are the rather infamously known metal boxes that Space Marines get to ride around in. Now, unlike a tabletop game where they can only take one squad at a time, I think they can take 2 or 3 here in Dark Crusade. I can also make these land speeders, which are fast attack units that have heavy bolters on them. Good at taking out infantry. And then I can bring in dreadnoughts. Let's do one of those right now. Now, the regular dreadnought comes stocked with a couple of close combat weapons, one of which can be upgraded to either an assault cannon, which is basically a big minigun, or a twin-link laser cannon, which, as you might have guessed, is a pair of large laser cannons. And that's what you pick depends on whether you're going after a more infantry-based army or a more vehicle-based army, as the laser cannons are more effective against vehicles, and the assault cannon better against infantry. And then we also have this Hellfire Dreadnought, which comes with an assault cannon and a missile launcher, neither of which can be upgraded. And that's also good against infantry, but it's not very effective against vehicles. And you can also make the Predator tank, which comes stocked with an autocannon and a couple of heavy bolters. And that's effective against various types of infantry, but you can also upgrade those to laser cannons, which makes them effective against vehicles. Eventually I'll be able to make a Whirlwind, which is a rhino with a big missile launcher on it, and is also effective against infantry. And then there's the Land Raider, which is effective against everything, but I won't be able to build it on this map. Sorry, folks. Alright, so I'll take this chaplain, I'll attach him to this squad,
Ever vigilant.
and I'll get that loaded up. Oh, queue is full.
Even in death I still serve.
So here's the Dreadnought, who's going to be very good in close combat right now, but let's give him a gun. Let's give him an assault cannon, since I'm dealing with orcs, so I'm likely to deal with a lot of mass troops. And the next one I bring in, I'll add on laser cannons.
I await your instructions.
Now I'll build my orbital relay, and that'll allow me to build Terminators.
With all due haste.
Your wise counsel belies your years. Faith is purest when it is unquestioned.
Heresy grows relentless.
And then these Assault Marines, these are Space Marines with jump packs that come with chain swords and bolt pistols. They're a good close combat bunch. Highly mobile.
Knowledge is power. Hide it well. At your command.
And you're going to see very soon where my strengths lie. That, basically, my entire strategy is build as many troops as I can and just throw them at the enemy. I don't usually think too much more than that. Ah. More upgrades. Alright, so. Personal teleporters for the Terminators, who I can now create in here. Now, what's great about Terminators, even though you can only have one squad of each, is that they deep strike. So if you need reinforcements, you bring in the super heavy infantry units with their powerful weaponry and outflank the enemy. And I can also use this to call in Space Marine squads via drop pods along with dreadnoughts. Let's come over here. Lone Chaos Sorcerer is going to take on the entire Eldar army.
Terminators ready.
And there's two different kinds of Terminators. The standard Terminator squad, they come with Storm Bolters and Power Fists. And then they have the Assault Terminator squad, which does not come with any ranged weaponry at all. They actually come with thunder hammers and storm shields. And they're one of the best close combat units in the game. And again, they can deep strike. I will demonstrate. Here comes a squad of Chaos Marines. I'll pick my Assault Terminators.
Into the maelstrom of battle!
And that was a complete waste because everything got killed. Oh, here we go. Now, that normally would have worked better if the previous Marine, Chaos Marines, had survived a little longer. But now they can come in and bash everything. Storm shields make them very hard to kill. Alright, so now there's actually quite a few guys coming along, so I'll drop my other Terminators down here. I'm bringing in some heavy weaponry now in the form of a Defiler. Voila. Now these guys can take heavy flamers and assault cannons. And now I've got a squad of Space Marines and an orbital relay, so I'll drop them down here. Even my Terminators are withering under this fire.
The Emperor's chosen.
Alright, let's get some heavy machinery going here. Supporting my Eldar allies as best I can. But let's start sending some troops down to take out those orcs.
Faith is purest when it is unquestioned.
Who looks like they were coming to attack me. Alright, let's focus on one enemy at a time here, since my Terminators officially got wiped out doing that. Alright. Now we got my Predator tank, which is basically a very heavily armed Rhino. No transport capacity, but that's because they need room for all the guns. What is down here? Oh, that's my librarian. He's about to die.
Into the maelstrom of battle! Yes. Under fire! Deploy behind enemy lines!
Going up against orcs, I'll keep the autocannon and the heavy bolters on the Predator. They don't usually have much in the way of vehicles. These little guys down here. And that's Dawn of War, ladies and gentlemen. Again, it's a real-time strategy game set in the grim, dark, far future of Warhammer 40,000. There is never enough DACA, and there is always war. You should be able to get the Platinum Edition very cheap. It includes the Winter Assault and Dark Crusade expansions, and that's really all you need. And I'll see you next time.
Position secure.